Shalom, shalom, all praises be to Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Bishim Kakadash, double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Muslim that rule well. Shalom to the hopeful elect. You know, the British digital ID card, man. Now, obviously, their goal, their agenda, because, you know, the elite's agenda of, you know, the 2030 agenda, you know, the reform of society, if you know what I'm talking about, the N, W, and so forth, the new world, right? It's for everything to go digital and to have digital IDs, and ultimately the CHIP, the m.o.t.b, which is written in Revelations 13:16, an implantable device that will be able to track, trace, and control everything about you. Okay, but now obviously there's been like petitions and anger from the British public that they don't want this British digital ID. I did a video before. So obviously, which they're eventually going to do anyway, but they're going to do it in stages. And now the first stage now that they're doing is doing it to veterans. Yeah, and you can dive into how veterans themselves have been mistreated, because all these veterans they're just pawns for the elites. Yeah. Okay, and even them are not even looked after. They don't even look after their veterans, give them homes and mental care and healthcare and stuff like that. They're neglected as well, because UK, these Edomites, they don't know how to manage. Yeah, they're terrible managers. That's why they need to be replaced with a righteous ruler, which is our Lord Yahweh Shai, who will be considered as a so-called black man. But nevertheless, you know, they're now starting the digital ID system primarily with the veterans. So they're going to be don't be surprised if they start doing things in stages. The veterans first, and soon there might be people that have applied to universal credit system. Okay, your government assistance and benefits, PIP, and allowances for what do you call it, disabled people and stuff like that. It's gonna start. Don't be surprised if they start doing a domino effect through the system. Okay, then eventually all people have to take this digital ID. Okay, and it's for total control. Okay, but they're gonna mask it as, well, let me read it here. The Prime Minister announced in September that a digital ID system would be introduced in 2029 and would be mandatory mandatory, look at them keywords, mandatory. It's by force. Well, if you want to be recognized as a society, if you want to earn your money, if you want to get benefits, you're going to have to get this. You see? If you want to get your food, you know, your tokens, and stuff like that, discounts, you're going to have to be a part of that. Okay, and it says, and would be mandatory for people working in the UK as part of a bid to tackle illegal migration. And that's the thing that they've been pushing, the migration situation, which was all set up by the elites. If they wanted to stop illegal migration, they would have stopped the British Channel. Okay, they would have turned people back from the British Channel, the canal, or whatever. They would have stopped, was it asylum seekers? And all this stuff, if they were really that serious, if that was really the issue. And we all know that migrants are the ones that are doing these jobs that are actually, you know, helping the economy of the UK. All right, who do you see doing these jobs in NHS and all these other jobs? It's migrants, people that came from overseas. Okay, and these elites are bringing sleeper agents and agent provocateurs, you know, to do red flags and false attacks and propaganda as well, because these elites are evil. But trying to find. Yeah, so you can see in it the official Gov website, HM Armed Forces Veteran Card Overview. So a digital version of the veteran card. So they're starting veterans ID card eligible and how to apply. So they started with the veterans. And look, the veterans, they already used up, man. Sorry to say, man. A lot of these people got. I'm gonna bring out scriptures, by the way. Salakia. These veterans, they've been abused and all of that, fighting wars for the elites, thinking that it's patriotic, but it's just really not. You know, they've been commanded to unalive innocent people around the world for the benefit for the elites. But anyways, let me get this. These people are facing trauma and PTSD and stuff like that. Forgive me, but let me read the scriptures now. Psalms 55, verse 21, straight to the point. It says, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet but they were drawn swords." Yeah, so his words are smoother than butter. So in other words, Esau, Edom, starting with these elites, and they use these politicians like Keir Starmer. The things that they present, it sounds sweet. It sounds like it's for your benefit. It sounds like it's for the greater good. Yeah, but behind closed doors, their wicked intent is to capture you, to control your minds, and to control you in general. They want to own your soul. Yeah. This is 2 Corinthians 2:11, and it says, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices." Okay, and when you go, yeah, so we don't want to be ignorant. That's why we got to stay clued up. We watch the news articles and we filter things through the scriptures of biblical prophecy, so we know what they're up to. Okay, and the scriptures exposes what they're up to. Their witchcrafts, okay, and stuff like that. The way for the word device, and it says outline of biblical usage, a mental perception, thought, an evil purpose, that which thinks the mind, thoughts, or purpose. Yeah, so it's an evil purpose. They have an evil agenda. Okay, so we must be aware of their agenda, and we know that the ultimate agenda is Revelations 13:16 for complete and total control by putting the implantable device inside your body, man. And from then, when that's in you, you got a golden ticket, first class golden ticket, to the Hall of Flames, man. The Lord's gonna destroy you. Revelations 14:9. Okay. Be aware of his plans. Let me just read it. Revelations 14:9. And it says, "Doom for the worshippers of the beast. And the third angel would follow them, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark." Yeah, the beast and an image, everything Esau Edom represents, the ideologies, okay, the blasphemous indoctrinations, yeah, the false democracy that they present, okay, the American dream, and all that nonsense, because Babylon the Great is America. But, obviously London, UK is also, you could say it's obviously like it's part of the empire, the British Empire helped birth America. Okay. So they work together, man. Okay, these European nations, EU, NATO. Yeah, so if any man worship the beast and his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, that mark is the m.o.t.b, that device. Karagma, karags, okay, which is the word for mark. which goes into scratch or etching in the flesh. Yeah, so they're gonna pierce your flesh and put something in you, a device. But same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of God. Yeah, in other words, you're gonna face judgment if you totally accept or are immersed into Esau's beast system and image and the mark. Mixture without mixture into the cup of his indignation, righteous judgment, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb. And the smoke of their torment ascendeth up for ever and ever, a long period of time, and they have no rest day nor night who worship the beast and his image, and whosoever receiveth the mark of his name. Yeah, so even if you take the C-hip, the m.o.t.b, the implantable device, which will come after the digital ID, depending what the digital ID is. Because if the digital ID is just something that's going to be in your phone or a card, then obviously it's not the m.o.t.b, the mark of the beast. But if it's something that's implantable in your body, okay, then we know what time it is. So they're gonna keep making basically life harder and harder. But the point is, if you take that the m.o.t.b, things are not going to be pretty, because you're going to be tormented. Okay, obviously your end judgment is destruction, but even within that short-lived so-called utopia, that time period of receiving that mark, there's going to be famines. They're going to be rationing food. Yeah, you're going to be getting sick, and cancer rates are going to increase, diseases. Yeah, everything's that C-hip, that chip that's going to be in you is going to be causing health problems. Okay? So that's really it, man. But verse 12, the ending, it says, here is the patience of the saints, and here are they that keep the commandments of God and the faith of Yahushua. So the true worshippers, the elect, are going to follow the Lord, practice the Lord's statutes, commandments to the best of their ability, and ultimately have faith in the Lord's power, prophecies, miracles, and so forth. Yeah. But anyways, with that, all praise be to Yahweh, by Hashem Yahushua, B'Shem Kakadash, double honor to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone. Shalom, shalom.